My wife wants to have a baby, so we're going the IVF route. However, it was complete news to me when she told me who she wants to be a part of that process. My brother? Yeah, this one is wild.
My wife was acting strange, so when I found out her secret, I had to move out. My wife knows that I hate it when she keeps things from me. In the past, when someone has kept things from me, it's often led me to not trusting them. I can't explain what happens when somebody betrays me. I lose all sympathy for that person, even if I forgive them. I will not even be able to trust them. This is because of a past relationship trauma where I was in an abusive relationship. But when I met my wife, Olivia, I was able to understand that sometimes people can keep things from you because they want to protect you. She taught me to let go of the trait which made me so quick to cut people off. Olivia and I faced many challenges, including being a same-sex couple when my family are not allies. When I came out to my parents, they told me they loved me, even though they did not agree with my, quote, life choices. I tried to explain to them that it was not a choice or a phase, but those words fell flat. That was the kindest response I got from my family, for the rest of the family started to straight up avoid me. I started to avoid attending family functions. I was not openly shunned, but I was basically just not acknowledged. But when I moved away, it's easier for me because I no longer had to make excuses about why I could not attend these family functions. They never said anything to make me feel bad. They just acted in a way that made me feel bad. For instance, if I offered to help anything with them, they would refuse even if I was the only option. I'm now 27, but 3 years ago, I met Olivia. I realized that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, so I proposed a year later. At my wedding, only a few friends and my parents attended. Many of our friends from the community attended, but my parents left early because it was a bit too much for them. The only acknowledgement from my brother was that he thought it was all just a phase. There are not enough words in the dictionary to describe how much I hate my brother. Even before I came out, there was a deep animosity between myself and my bro. He's ill-mannered, selfish, and treats people who are not in a place of power like crap. I was certain that he would never get married, yet somehow, girls in this town were attracted to him, and they still dated him. I felt sorry for his future wife before we even turned 12 years old. My brother is also a raging homophobe. I've not seen him in years because of what he said on my wedding day. On my wedding day, he sent me a long message telling me, not to let anyone know that I'm related to him because he finds me disgusting. He told me that he did not recognize my marriage, therefore I did not exist to him. It didn't really hurt. It just further encouraged me to block the hell out of him. Wherever he's present, I avoid like the plague. About a year ago, he became engaged to a girl who is my childhood friend. She's an absolute sweetheart, and I feared for her, because my brother will chew her out and spit her out. My wife and I were invited to the wedding 3 months ago, which was where my wife met my brother, who suddenly took a liking to him. He did not change his views, but he did respect her knowledge of cars, motorbikes, etc., which he enjoyed. So at least he did not completely hate Olivia. Olivia knows how I feel about him, though, which is why I don't really get why she suddenly starts telling him about our relationship problems, and I was the last person to find out. For weeks, Olivia had been hinting that something was wrong with her, but when I tried to ask, she would just shut it down and told me it's nothing. Well, I didn't probe any further. I told myself that she would tell me whatever it is that's bothering her when she's ready. Well, I thought I knew what it was when she wanted to tell me. She's been wanting to move out to the countryside ever since we got married. Well, I thought maybe she found a job out there and was scared to tell me. It would make sense that she was scared to tell me because we have a house together, and we would have to sell it and basically start over. But if she suggested it, I would be willing to compromise and move to the countryside with her. I just prefer the city because of its opportunities as well as the people that I meet every single day. But Olivia is an introvert, very simple. But then, a couple days ago, I overheard her on a phone call with somebody. Lately, I've been having terrible migraines, and as soon as I finished work, I go home and have dinner, then I sleep. I have an appointment with the doctor within a few days, but this whole week I've just been taking headache pills. I suddenly woke up when I was sleeping. The time was 11 p.m. I decided to go to the kitchen to get some water and a snack. Feeling better, I decided to go sit by the patio and just feel the fresh breeze. My wife was not in bed yet, but I could hear the TV in the living room. But when I went to the patio, she was sitting there with her back to me and she was on the phone. Well, I tried to mention the baby thing subtly the other day and she just got a cold expression on her face. Yeah. No, she would not. She's stubborn. Well, when we got married, we said we would not have babies. A baby? Why was she discussing us having a baby with whoever was on the other side of that phone? Before we got married, we got intensive counseling to make sure that we were ready. Her parents are divorced, so she feared that if we got married, it would end in divorce. There's a pretty strong pattern of divorce in her family, which is unexplainable. One of the discussions that we had was about kids. Even before I came out, I didn't want to have kids. I like kids. Other people's kids, but I don't want to have my own. My parents know this and they're disappointed, but they've accepted it. Olivia and I agreed that kids were non-negotiable when we got married. Here I was under the impression that neither of us wanted to have children. Yet, it appeared that the issue of having kids had been bothering my wife for the past few months, and she had not even thought to talk to me about it? Well, this is unfair. When we got married, we both decided that we did not want to have kids. Why did she suddenly just want to change and have kids now? I felt that she was being selfish for even entertaining the idea. I decided to leave her with her phone call and go back to bed. The next morning at breakfast, I could not help looking at her and feeling betrayed. She should have let go of the idea when she first had it. I've sacrificed so much for her, so I don't really get why she wants to do this to me. I don't want any part of raising a child. I just don't have the maternal instincts in me. I want to live my life in peace and die without having any children. My parents told me that I need to leave a legacy, but I don't care. I can leave my legacy within the work I do. I fully support those who want to have their own kids. Cool, kudos to them. But I'm just not part of that club, and I had to say something to her. "Since when do you want to have kids?" I asked. She dropped her spoon and her face turned pale. She opened and closed her mouth like a goldfish out of water, but nothing came out. And then she starts to stutter, and there was nothing coherent. "Do not deny it. I heard you last night." "I'm not that upset, but we need to discuss this later on." I could not remain angry with her no matter how crazy she was being. Sure enough, after work she spilled all the beans. Little did I know that it was worse than what I heard. She said that she had been getting baby fever for months. She'd been thinking of ways to tell me, but she did not know how. Strangely enough, she had been discussing the baby issues with my brother. "Why would you talk to him? You know how he feels about us." "Well, he still cares about you, plus we've gotten pretty close lately. I feel like soon he'll come around." "Ugh," said Miss Delusional. I could not believe that she was falling for whatever it was that my brother was up to. "We could adopt a pet, several pets." "No, I want a real baby." "You know how tiring the adoption process is." "I don't want to adopt. I want IVF." "Oh, so you want us to get a sperm from a sperm bank, have a stranger father our kid, and then years later he shows up to bother us. Got it. Whose idea was it anyways?" "Dorian's." "Oh, I'm surprised that he even used that thick skull of his to think. I do not know what you two are smoking, but we're not having a baby fathered by somebody we don't know." "Well, I've already asked Dorian to be the father, and the baby, he agreed." For once during that conversation, I was absolutely speechless as I listened to the utter rubbish coming out from my wife's mouth. "Forget it," I shouted. but she said that it was the best way to make sure that our family line continued. It would mean that the child had both mine and her genes. She was okay with being pregnant since she was the one who suggested everything. She said that she would make a plan with the IVF costs, but she really wanted to do it. Well, she was also glad that at last the cat was out of the bag and I'd found out that she wants to have a baby. We argued for a very, very long time. She was selfish for wanting to bring a child into this house when she knew how I felt. 80% of the time, she gets to decide what we do. Most people assume that since I have a stronger personality, I call the shots, but in reality, she only has to look a bit sad and give puppy dog eyes, then I'd do anything to make her happy. She tried to do this time, but I was just not going to budge on it. This was one of those ground rules to our marriage that we were not going to have kids. But yet here she was starting to break it. I know one thing. Once somebody starts to break the rules in a marriage, more rules breaking will follow and the marriage will simply crumble. In the end, we're both too angry to stay in the same house. I booked myself into a B&B for a while so that I could calm down, and I'm upset with her, but I don't want to hurt her. Update number 1. Hey everyone, thank you for your insights on the matter. They were very helpful and they helped me open up my mind. I'll let you know that I decided, but first, let me tell you what happened after I moved out. My mother came all the way to talk to me. She told me that Olivia had called her crying and told her everything. My mom did not understand why I did not want to do it, since, after all, I will not be the one carrying the baby. It's not about me carrying the baby. It was the fact that I will not be able to love that baby. I don't want to have to take care of a child. If I stay with her, then I will have to take care of that child. My mom told me that it's the least I could do after I married a woman and cut all chances of them having grandchildren. I told them that my older sister has 2 kids and my brother just got married. But my mom said this could help us get accepted into the family, and once we have a child, we will appear more like a normal family, so our family members will like us a bit more. Do it, Olivia. She feels so left out of our family, my mom said, knowing exactly what she was doing. I felt that there was just no way in hell our traditional family would accept this. The other aspect of it, my brother being the father, was what made it even more disgusting. So, when my mom was gone, I called the rest of the family, people I've not spoken to in ages, and told them everything. I expected them to support me, but each and every one of them was okay with this. So, let us say that I agree with this and my wife has a child with my brother, right? Will the child know the circumstances that brought him or her here? How would this child feel about having an uncle/dad? No matter how I think about it, it's just weird. I know the process would be IVF, but still, I talked to my brother as well and tried to convince him to drop the idea, but he says it's Olivia's choice. Well, since it's Olivia's choice, I'm out. I went back home, packed my stuff, and left. I'm going to meet with a divorce lawyer in a few days. Nothing's going to make me stay with her if she wants to do something so crazy and disregard my feelings completely. If we have to break up because of this, 100% fine. She's determined to hurt my feelings and have a child with my brother, who also happens to be homophobic. It's like some crazy scripted reality show. I won't be a part of the cast, though. I'm making a hasty decision. I don't know. Update number 2. We're back together. Okay, the good news. My wife and I ended up not getting divorced, and I'm glad for it. I can't imagine a life without Olivia. She's my better half, and the child in her stomach is someone who's quickly becoming a part of my life. I bet you can't believe that I'm saying this after what I wrote the last time. I was on the verge of leaving her. Saying to hell with her and the family, but several things happened that put things into a perspective for me. Well, I did meet up with the lawyer to discuss the divorce and how we would go about it. I decided to remain separated from her for about 5 months while I decided if I was ready. Initially, I was supposed to make the decision after only a month, but I kept on postponing. During that period, I avoided her. I refused to talk to her, and every time that we spoke, we argued. I also cut contact with my family, who would not stop trying to convince me to do things that I did not want to do. In the 3rd month, I fell ill. I began to have problems with my digestive system that would not stop, and I'd already gotten migraines. I went to the doctor, who told me that I was working too hard and stressing as well. Unfortunately, stress was not the only factor contributing to my illness. I had appendicitis and I had to get surgery. I have no idea which one of my friends snitched on me and told my wife, but she showed up at the hospital. When I woke up after surgery, it was at her beautiful face. I felt like my heart had been stabbed. This was not fair at all. And then I saw her belly. It was huge. She was clearly pregnant, so she had gone against my wishes and still had a child with him, even if it meant that I would leave her. I resolved to hand her the divorce papers as soon as I recovered. It was the final nail in the coffin for me. I was going to get rid of her once and for all, and I was forced to move back in with her. It was the only way that they would discharge me. Before surgery, I had plans to get a nurse, but since she was my spouse, she had every right to discharge me. The following weeks were very awkward. I did not speak to her. I just counted down the days till I could leave. Despite my animosity towards her, she cared for my every need. She woke up super early in the morning, cleaned the house, cooked for me, and made sure that I took my medicine. When I was too weak, she would even assist me. She would just normally be there by my side, even though she was quite far along. One day, I went with her to get a scan. I was also going for a checkup, so we thought we'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. After my checkup, I waited for her in the waiting room while she got her scan. But then the nurse, who knew the both of us, asked me if I did not want to see the baby. She did not know about the looming divorce, and I was too tired to explain anything, so I just went along with her. When I saw the baby, everything changed. I don't know what happened, but my anger evaporated in the thin air, and I was horrified at my behavior. Olivia and that baby were my family, but I wanted to leave them. I couldn't. And within the past few weeks, Olivia had shown me the person that I fell in love with once upon a time. I hid my tears, but I was sad. I was so close to throwing this away. The ride home was different. Something had shifted in the air, and I did not know what it was. When we got home that day, we cooked dinner together, cracked jokes, and talked about the books we had both been reading. It was just like old times. That night, I told her that I wanted to move back home so that we could raise the baby together. She was overjoyed. I did not think I could love you more than I love you right now. I was so afraid of being a mother on my own. She gave me a big warm hug. I've missed these hugs. So I make sure that she hugs me each and every day. Things are not 100% okay, but we're trying. However, as I told Olivia, this is the first and last child that we're having. I love this unborn child, but if she goes behind my back again, I will not be so forgiving. She's promised that she will not pull a stunt like this ever again. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So I thought that was the end of the story, but I found an update that came out 2 years later. And oh boy, let's get into it. I can't believe that it's now 2 years later. Our daughter's nearly 2 years old. She's the naughtiest little toddler, and we love her a lot. After Olivia gave birth, we both stayed with my mom for a while. She moved in with us, and she helped us take care of the baby and get used to her. In addition, our family members visit us for the first time. They brought with them a lot of gifts and blessings, and one could never deny it. Ariana's loved. My marriage is still going strong. Next year, we will have been married for 5 years, and there's only one issue that unsettles me, and that's my brother's involvement in Ariana's life. We agree way before she was born that she would not know that Dorian's her father. She will only know when she's much, much older and able to understand. We don't want to confuse her. We want her to know myself and Olivia as her primary family. That being said, Dorian is disregarding our wishes and Olivia is supporting him. She's too nice to tell him to back off. Now it seems like I'm the Grinch who stole Christmas, who doesn't want to make anyone happy when I'm not. She says that we should just allow him to have a relationship with his child at least until his wife gets pregnant. In all fairness, his wife Kate is always asking for Ariana to visit on the weekends. She works at a theme park and takes over the kids in the family, so it shouldn't be weird that Ariana also goes, right? But when I see her and Dorian interact with the baby, they seem to be too close to her. They act as if she's their child, and it worries me. I don't want them to be too close to Ariana. What if they decide that they want custody of her? There were no contracts signed, thanks to my wife who did not want to upset my brother. The other thing is that since Ariana is her bio daughter, Olivia feels like she has the final say in what she can do. I work Monday to Saturday afternoon with Sundays off while she works 5 days a week. I've asked her to reserve a few Sundays per month for us to hang out as a family, but she's failed to honor that. She's always at Dorian's house, and they treat me like a third wheel, and it's starting to get frustrating. I don't know what to do. I've brought up the issue with her, and she's proceeded to tag me in with Dorian. In fact, I cannot seem to escape my brother no matter where I go into this house. It's like he's the one making decisions, not her and me, and I'm sick of it. A friend of mine recently suggested that we should move away, further away just to make it impossible for Dorian to see the child. We had an argument that the child's mine and Olivia's, and he's just a sperm donor. But I feel like if I uproot our whole life, that would be very petty. But every day, I get closer and closer to suggesting that we move. I've been looking at houses in the countryside where the job opportunities for Olivia and me are there. I know that this has been her secret desire, but I've always said no over the years. I feel like I use this secret weapon, then it'll be game over, and I will have won. I will not shut out my own daughter's life, and we will be far away from Dorian and his wife. But if I manipulate her like that, won't it be a bad thing to do? I'm so stuck. Update number 3. 1 month later. Do you know what I decided? To take the high road. And where did I get it? Well, it got me burnt. I decided to try and make more of an effort to accept my brother into my life as some of you suggested, and I started to see the appeal of it. I was a bit blinded by his past, but I started to see that he loves Ariana very much. He's also not as hateful as he used to be. He has been trying to make an effort, but I've been shutting him down. So, then I decided that I was going to go down for the weekend of his birthday and visit him. I bought him a Hermes watch. It cost a lot, but it's worth it. My wife and child were already in his town, but they had no idea I was coming, so I got off early on Saturday and drove to my mother's house. When I got there, Olivia was nowhere to be found. Mom was babysitting Ariana. I spent the day with my parents while I waited for my wife, who they said went for a couple of errands. Well, I craved some tacos, so I decided to go downtown to my favorite little secret spot. It was in the middle of nowhere where nobody went, but where they made the best authentic tacos. I ordered some, and then I asked to use the bathroom. Upstairs, there was a motel of some sort. Just as I was leaving the bathroom, I bumped into a couple who was kissing. I tried to walk around them so as not to disturb, but my scarf hooked onto the lady. She screeched, told me to watch it. I started to apologize until I recognized this woman who had just been kissing my brother. It was no other than my wife. I left my perfectly good tacos and went back home immediately. They followed a few minutes later and tried to explain, and as luck would have it, my brother's wife was also present. I told the whole family what I've seen, and they were mad. According to Olivia, this had only been going on for a couple months, but she wanted to leave me. Yeah, she said with her own mouth that she wants to leave me because she wants to raise Ariana with Dorian. Kate went up to her and smacked her so hard my ears rang. And then she moved on to Dorian, who looked ashamed for the first time in his life. His once prideful posture was now crestfallen. So here I was with the wife who was telling me that she wants to leave me for my brother. I started to laugh. I might have been laughing, but on the inside I was dying. I wondered what I have done to both of them for me to deserve this. Olivia knew the kind of person that he was, yet here she was with him cheating on me.
Don't worry, we're done. I don't want to see you in my house again.
You have to understand, I love him and I will not apologize.
Love? You don't think that we had a future, did you? This was all a bet to see if I could turn you.
Dorian said, everyone exclaimed, and of course he still treated people like pawns in a game. Just like when we were kids.
Her face was priceless.
She changed from shock to outrage to tearful in a record 3 seconds, and then she was on her knees in front of me.
I felt like spitting on her,
but that would be too good for her. I went outside, got in my car, and drove home. Once I got home, I put my house on the market. Yeah, I used my money to buy the house and everything. She owns absolutely no part of it. She kept on calling and calling and calling, but I blocked her. She got a new number and kept calling me again. She was everywhere. I don't know how she got my location, but she did. It started out as a desperation to get me back, but it ended up with anger because she did not have a place to stay because of me. My house was snatched up really quick and bought, and I started planning to move. My parents supported me, as did rest of the family, and they were extremely disgusted by what my brother had done to ruin my relationship. They all disowned him, except for Kate, who decided to stand by him. She's gullible enough to believe his lies, and she's too good for him. But it is her choice to choose to stay in that hell. It's not my problem. So, now that my house has been sold, I will move. I don't know where I want to go, but it must be far away from this.
Not the tacos! Those good, authentic tacos just left out in the cold after OP found her lover kissing her brother. Wow, that was a wild story, and those good tacos went to no use. Let me know your favorite toppings on a taco in the comment section down below. But let's get serious. What did you guys make of this story? I would love to discuss it with you because this one had so many twists and turns, and I'll be honest with you, my mind was blown when I was reading it. So let's drop our comments down below, guys. Thank you for joining me on today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you want more daily videos, the best way is simple. Subscribe to the channel, click those bell notifications so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.